Hello, everyone, and welcome to One Control Port Podcast, episode 73. 73. I had to look at it, live recording, look at what episode number it is. I'm Benjamin Yoder, your host, to talk to you about video games, and I know last week was very, very Xenoblade 2, Torna, the Golden Country. I'm going to continue to get that name wrong. Golden Country heavy, and yeah, I won't talk about this very long, but like I said, I was pretty much in the last room of the game. It was a little more elaborate of a room than I thought, but I finished that off, and was a bit over leveled for the end of the game. But hey, that's what happens when you're like, I'm gonna do all this side content, and then like the main game is built for you to get there, like, you know. In the case of that game, probably around like 60 to 70% of the side content was expected to be completed. There's actual gates keeping you from getting to the end without doing a certain number of the side content. But yeah, so I finished that off, and yeah, that wasn't anything. It's one of those things like with Halo Reach, where it's like the conclusion of it's never going to be good because then the main game has to happen. So they can't like sit there and be like, oh, everything's going to be all nice and swell. Of course, everything goes bad. But it does, more than anything, I think it makes it so when you there's like a whole thing about how Mithra is kind of the cause of some of the destruction that happens at that time. And so you basically get to see that firsthand and kind of how it happened. It doesn't really add any additional information, but it kind of maybe explains a bit more how like Mithra ends up being turned into Pyra. Not really, actually, but I don't know, man. It's I mean, again, like I said, if you're a fan of Xenoblade Chronicles 2, you should play Torna the Golden Age. If you haven't played Xenoblade Chronicles 2, this isn't really a good jumping in point. As much as I like the battle system changes and stuff, it's not really a good jumping in point. Just some additional cleanup though. I also did a WarioWare Inc. Mega Micro Games quick play stream, and I did it, but I feel like when I did it, I didn't really have any thoughts at the time. I more or less said, well, this is just kind of what the game is. And I think maybe the one takeaway I might have come from after having played that on stream and then having time to think about it was, WarioWare, because every mini game's like 5-6 seconds long, with the exception of like the special boss mini games or like little side toys and stuff that you can mess with. I think what makes WarioWare special might be the right word. I'm not sure. But what makes it interesting or special is that it basically, everything is so tiny and small that there's almost no time for it to be bad. Like, you don't really have time to fully digest how each minigame plays per se. And because they're so simple and they're just like, hey, press a button, they're not elaborate or anything like that. I think a lot of games have when they try to go for variety is that they have to build out these mechanics and they don't have the money and time to make them as polished as they need to be. I think Mario Odyssey also hits this problem, but like WarioWare, and Mario Odyssey is a bit more of an extension of this, is that like the less time you're spending it with it, the better. And so Mario Odyssey is, each capture mechanic of that game is a bit more complicated. But WarioWare is pretty much just press the A button, move the D-pad left and right, and stuff like that. And I think that's what makes WarioWare work, is because the games are so simple, so small, that there's no space or time for them to really be bad games. I feel like I'm sure there's a way to make a bad WarioWare games, but the bar to a good quality micro game probably isn't that high. I mean, you're literally there for like a few seconds. You don't spend a lot of time with it. So I guess that was kind of the leftover thought I had about WarioWare Inc. Mega Micro Games. I need to do a better job of making sure I cut out that stuff from the back half of the stream. I think like with a couple of streams, I've just kind of left it in recently, although it's probably not bad to have the quick play stream at the end of like the Lost Dimension Part 1. and I had to split or I didn't have to split the Lost Dimension stream. It split on its own because I guess I probably disconnected at some point. But yeah. So WarioWare, that's kind of the last like note I have for that, and I'm sure if anyone watches that in the future, they definitely won't listen to this podcast and get that little extra bit because there's nothing linking these two. So yay. So yeah. Other than that, though, I pretty much just I mean, the Torna thing didn't happen until pretty late this week, and then I started Blade Strangers last night. Finally, after it sat on my desk for what felt like months. It may have been months. I'm not sure at this point. But I did finally start Blade Strangers, and I'm enjoying it to some degree. But I think it's kind of interesting because I would say recently, even though fighting games have become a much more, visibly more competitive. And I think a lot of times, a lot of games want to lean into that competitive nature. I feel like the story modes have really benefited in a lot of more recent fighting games. I think Skullgirls is a good example. Although I played like the PS4 re-release of Skullgirls, so I don't know if it originally was like this. And then, I think the Dead or Alive games are a good example. Like DOA 5 had a pretty solid story and everything was pretty good. Blade Stranger's story mode is what I would expect from like an older style fighting game. It's pretty basic. There's maybe a handful of cutscenes with a little bit of dialogue that either is irrelevant to that character's main plot or is only slightly relevant. And then at the end of the story, you really don't really learn anything about each of these individual characters. It's more or less just like, oh, like I think Helen is like the unique, like original character for this game. And her story is pretty much just like, oh, I'm trying to hunt this organization down for revenge. And I even forget why she's hunting for revenge. I assume they probably like killed people she knew or something. But it doesn't really amount to anything other than just being told by this computer lady, like, hey, chill out, man. Don't go. You're going to spend the rest of your life trying to get revenge, and it's not going to work out. You'll be unhappy. And sure enough, she's like, oh, okay, that makes sense. So I don't know. The story's kind of light on those. Although a surprise, I think her name's Noko. She's like the descendant of Umihara Kawase. Has like a surprisingly okay story in there, which is weird because I think I don't think the Umihara Kawase games have extensive plot. But in Sayonara Umihara Kawase, Noko is like a time cop from the future or something. And in this game, they lean into it and they give her a motivation. And I don't think she's had a motivation in the past of why she became a time cop. And it's basically just like her basically trying to prevent the death of her father and stuff. And then like the ultimate conclusion of that actually is kind of answered in this game. Maybe because this is the first time it's mentioned, so they have the space to bring Noko to a conclusion. But yeah, it's a I think more than anything though, it is a novel fighting game, if only because it has a lot of characters in it that I feel like would typically not end up in any fighting games or would not be in a fighting game where they're like the main stars of them, all the Code Princess characters, the Umihara Kawase characters, like the characters from Cave Story and stuff like that. I'm a big Gunvolt fan, and I will say was not a big fan of how Gunvolt played in this game, unfortunately. Or maybe you're not a big fan of it. I just couldn't figure out how to make it work. I might need to read some more information on how Gunvolt is supposed to be played, but I really didn't understand what to do with him. It's a pretty simple fighting game overall, though. It's pretty much light attack, heavy attack, and then there's this thing called like unique move, which to me just feels like a medium attack or something. I don't know. It's weird. Like the unique move and heavy attacks feel almost identical in terms of like the type of attacks they are. They're unique in terms of like there are different animations and different attacks, but there's none of them really feel like they flow into each other very well. So it's pretty much just like, do 3 light hits, then a hard hit, and then you have like something called or a unique hit. And then you have something called like a special attack, and the special attacks are more or less like I guess you could say kind of like a Smash Brothers, like press circle and down, and then press circle and right, and press circle and up, and it will give you different attack types, and then you can enhance the power of those skills by pressing, I think it's the hard attack button alongside special. I think that's what it is. But nothing about it really feels like it flows well, I think, is the biggest problem. Like I feel like, maybe it's one of those things, and I always say I'm a super casual fighting game player. I pretty much just, spend maybe, 5 to 20 hours of the fighting game and then call it a day. I'm not even sure if I can get that far with Blade Strangers. I'm going to play through the story at least, but I tried to play online and could not find a single person. So, but I think about games like Dead or Alive or Soul Calibur or even probably like Dragon Ball Z or Dragon Ball FighterZ. Even if you're not particularly experienced at fighting games, there's a flow to how they feel. And even though it's not like you're not being super efficient or effective, everything still feels like it's flowing into each other in a lot of ways. And I feel like that's not the case with Blade Strangers. I feel like with Blade Strangers, you really need to know how these attacks are going to lead into each other because they're so limited, because there's so few options. You really need to build combos to make the combat work. And I think maybe they're trying to simplify it down to, make it more accessible. But I think in some ways they simplified it so far down that it's just more complex almost. Like if you want to do combos, it seems like a lot more work in terms of memorization of what leads into what. I tried a little bit of the I think it's called like the mission mode. It was fine. I mean, it basically teaches you how to do combos and stuff, but I had some where the information wasn't particularly well detailed enough. Like I was pressing the right inputs, but I think was getting the timing wrong, and I couldn't figure out why. And then it just seemed like I was just completely missing the point of whatever they're trying to show me. And I was just like, well, I don't know what to do about this. But hey, if you want to play a fighting game with Umihara Kawase, Gunvolt, Isaac, Shovel Knight, Code Princess characters, I'm probably forgetting someone. Cave Story characters. It's probably the only chance you're gonna get, man. So I don't know if any of these characters showed up in any other games. Apparently these guys did like a Shining Force fighting game at some point. I would tell you what their developer name is, but it's in Japanese on the back of this box art, so I'm not going to be able to help you with that. I think it's just the Umihara Kawase developers who did it, or at least like who controls the series now. Umihara Kawase has like a weird history of publishers, I think, but the developer has remained consistent, I think. So, yeah. I didn't really have any news this week that I wanted to talk about. Post TGS, pretty quiet. There's a dog barking. Welcome to the news of the dog. Bark, 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 bark. So, I did not prepare. I thought I would have enough to fill 20 minutes, but I did not prepare. So let's pull up a backloggery. Although I can't remember my backloggery login. So, we could just talk about Lost Dimensions a little bit. Although I have a stream about Lost Dimensions, so I don't. Yeah, I'm blanking on my backloggery login information. I'm gonna try one more time. Let's just get rid of that. There we go. But yeah, I don't really have anything to say about Lost Dimensions yet. I think I mentioned this before. I kind of regret starting it now because Valkyria Chronicles 4 is out, and I definitely want to play Valkyria Chronicles 4. But playing two strategy RPGs side by side seems like a bad idea. Speaking of which, I don't really know what I'm going to focus on after Blade Strangers. I don't think Blade Strangers is going to have much life for me, unfortunately. So once I finish it up, I'll probably pass on doing anything else with it. I might do a quick play. Hey, how about this? Let's do a quick play stream of Blade Strangers this week, and then that will probably be the end of my Blade Strangers coverage. I'm going to try to get this Umihara Kawase keychain thing here real quick. Let's open that cookie. I don't think I've played this. Mario Party 7 on the GameCube. I did not capitalize the P. Oh my gosh. Mario Party 7 on the GameCube is actually weirdly one of my favorite Mario Parties. I think everybody has their own favorite Mario Party. Well, everybody who likes Mario Party has their own favorite Mario Party. There's also people who think Mario Party is trash, which I can totally understand. Go watch Giant Bomb series Mario Party Party, I think is what it's called. It's a very long series, and it's kind of like watching it's kind of like watching people who play Shenmue without actually getting into Shenmue. It's like, if you know how to enjoy Mario Party, which is a terrible caveat. If you know how to enjoy Mario Party, I think there's a lot to appreciate there. But as soon as you bring in people who do not enjoy Mario Party, it's just kind of a mess. A mess of just unhappiness. But yeah, Mario Party 7 was weirdly... I feel like I've talked about this before, but in Mario Party 7, there's a series of commercials called the Hot Mario Brothers. Or, well, not in Mario Party 7. In the real world, there is a series of commercials called Hot Mario Brothers. It is like these two, I think it was originally like some kind of handsome idol singer man, and I think it was just called Hot Mario. And then eventually they switched over to Hot Mario Brothers, which I think it might have been a comedic duo. I could be wrong about that. But essentially, yeah, it was just these two guys dressed up as Mario and Luigi, and they were just like going around playing, or they're just featured in all these advertisements. So like in the Mario Kart DS one, it's like Mario packing up for a flight, and then Luigi playing against like all these different Luigis from different like countries and stuff, because Mario Kart DS was the first online Mario Kart outside of hacking on the GameCube to make Mario Kart work, although I'm not sure how well that was at the time. I don't know how well that worked at the time, I guess. And then so basically Mario Party 7's commercial with this was like them under the couch of a huge family, because Mario Party 7 had 8-player multiplayer where you could have 2 people sharing a controller, a GameCube controller, one using each side. There's only like 10 mini games, so it was like a kind of a pain if you actually played the board game part, I believe. I'm trying to remember if you could play the board game part with that or not. But I remember just like whenever you limited down to the 8-player mini games, it was like 10 mini games and that was it, and just was not a lot of variety there. Yeah, so it's just like this huge family sitting on a couch, and these like Mario and Luigi sitting under or laying under the couch, hiding from them, like crying about them enjoying Mario Party so much. And then there's like this music in the background. I don't even know how to put it. I'll try to link the video if I can find it again. I feel like I lose it every time I try to think about it. But yeah, it's just like a really goofy commercial, and for some reason that sold Mario Party 7 to me, and I picked it up. I think the American commercials were like Mario on a cruise ship, and I didn't like those commercials, and I was like, oh man, the Japanese commercial's so much better, because that's what you do. Anyways, so Mario Party 7 was pretty alright. I like some of the levels in that game, but it's probably like any Mario Party, wherever you come in, seems to be your favorite, or at least like around that range of whatever one you end up playing the most. I played Mario Party 1. I rented 2 and 3, but I never owned them. And then I rented, I think, 4, 5, or 6. I don't remember which one. I think it was 4 or 5, and I didn't really have any feelings for them. And then 7 was the first one I bought again and played. I think I got it pretty cheap at the time. No, maybe I got it full price. I can't remember. It was a while where I went to this shop at the mall where they underpriced games, or maybe they didn't they didn't properly price games. So you'd go in there and like Piano 3 would be like $50 still, even though you could get it so much cheaper anywhere else online. But then sometimes there'd be like, hey, Dark Cloud and Tony Hawk Pro Skater Underground were $2.50 new, which, they weren't expensive games, but $2.50 new was pretty dang cheap. And I got a few other games there pretty cheap, and I think Mario Party 7 for some reason was priced lower there. But I don't know. I don't remember if I got it exactly at launch or not. Can't remember. Anyways, I guess that's it for Mario Party 7. And I guess that's it for this week. Bit of a heads up. I am having to make some lifestyle changes in my life, including more sleeping, better eating, more exercising, all that stuff. Not so much a it's not really so much of a choice as much as, oh, I need to do this to guarantee my body continues to function as needed for the rest of my life. So yeah, I'm gonna be trying to not push myself as hard in all aspects of my life, and then trying to create a more balanced lifestyle and stuff like that. And so unfortunately, that's going to mean I'm not going to be killing my, fortunately or unfortunately, I'm not going to be killing myself over trying to get articles done and trying to meet like my made up deadlines of what is not really a deadline for anything. So, I'm going to try to keep the output, going out. I'll try my best to release stuff as much as possible, but at the end of the day, I need to take care of my body first, because if my body's not here, I can't write. so I'm going to be slowing it down a bit. I'll try my best to do what I can. I think the reality is that I maybe got a little obsessed, writing on my website and stuff, and like, I need to work smarter, not harder. If I want to do something with my writing, it's not going to be the answer of like, how much can I kill myself trying to keep content on this website? It's going to be, smart articles and smart use of my time to make articles, and hopefully that means a better quality product in the end. I won't feel like death all the time. Like I've probably been sleep deprived for the last 15 years of my life, so looking to change that to make me feel like a better person and to make my body happier about being a better person. Because if my body's not happy, then I'm not happy, and right now my body's not happy. So I will do my best, and hopefully live a good long life to write out these articles and stuff. So yeah, just a little PSA there, I guess. But otherwise, if there's anything of concern, I'll let you know. So yeah. I guess that's all I can say. It's awkward to talk about it, but I feel like I need to say something about it because at the end of the day, how I publish content is, through this one outlet right now. And if that outlet slows down, I wanted you to know why, I guess, is how I feel. That being said, I think I'm not going to guarantee it, but I think there's going to be an article going up this week. I need to get some pictures for it, and I need to do some more of the late stage editing on it. Although I won't be here Monday. Yeah, it may not go up this week. It may be next week. So I'll try to see what I can do. But again, I'm not going to kill myself to get it on the website. I'm not going to stress about it. No stress. Less stress in my life. So yeah. Also, a bit of a heads up, I will be going to Portland Retro Game Expo, I believe it's the 19th through the 21st. I may not be there on the 19th, but I will be out of town. So I'm a bit uncertain of what to do for the excess podcast there yet, if I'm going to fill it in. Last year I filled it in with talk about like Final Fantasy 14 1.0. I'll see if I can find like a topic or something that I could just ramble about for 20 minutes as like a bonus podcast thing, but otherwise I will be out, and there may not be a podcast on the 22nd. So we'll see. Or if I do a podcast on Monday, it may be late, so it might show up on like a Tuesday or something like that. Otherwise, I started Lost Dimensions this week, so if you want to check that out, I am streaming that every Thursday, 7 o'clock PST. And then also, like I said, Blade Strangers will be at 9 on Thursday as well, doing a quick play stream of that. And then, yeah, hopefully we can get an article out this week. If not, it'll hopefully be out next week. So, thank you very much for your time, and hope you have a good week. Bye.